Time now to bring in our panel to talk about this week's top stories from Capitol Hill to the State House. The top talker has been, is it safe enough to send our kids to the classroom? And even educators are divided on this issue, but we've heard some say Governor Holcomb isn't stepping up. So joining me virtually this week is former Republican State Representative Mike Murphy. Mike, thanks for joining us here this Sunday morning. First question for you here is, what grade do you give the governor on his back to school plan? Is he fulfilling his duty to educate Hoosier kids safely?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, not only do I give the governor an A, I think he's been a national model in how to handle these things. You've seen some states bouncing back and forth. The city of Atlanta, for example, had to go back to don't leave your house unless you have essential business. The governor, in his nature, is to be very steady and to be a problem solver. And what he's done is he's moved very slowly. He's stopped when he's had to. He has not had to go back and reverse. And the school plan, as it develops, and I'm sure it'll still be developing, I think is wise, common sense, and he's giving a lot of local districts opportunities for local input, because not every part of the state is at the same point with the virus.
So Mike's assessment there is an A, but we know throughout the week Democrats have certainly given a different grade for the plan by Governor Holcomb. We're also joined right now by former Indiana Democratic Party Chair Robin Winston. Robin, some state Democrats, as I said, disapproving here of Holcomb's game plan. A few House Democrats sent the governor a letter Thursday that he failed to meet their request to not use enrollment numbers, tying that to state funding. So is freezing last year's enrollment dollars really the only viable option on the table?
Well, first off, I don't think the schools should be penalized because of the COVID-19 impacts. Time and time again, our educators want to be in the classroom. And I agree with Keith Gamble, who was at the onset of the show, who said that when you do virtual learning, the teachers are on the job responsible for teaching those kids. Washington Township made a very, very bold decision on deciding to initially open up with online and see how things go. We don't know where this is going, but all throughout all of our history, we've talked about education being a local issue decided by local school boards, and I think that that's best. It's premature to threaten, like Congressman Banks did, to withhold federal funding. Let's see how this goes before we make draconian decisions.
Let me get another Democrat here on this debate. So Jennifer Wagner is the former communications director for Indiana Democrats. Jennifer, if Indiana Republicans don't back this request that we've heard from Democrats, what is next for our classrooms?
Well, I think I have to agree with Robin and with others that this is a very local issue. And I think we have to do the yeoman's work of separating out the politics from the parenting. And I say that as someone who has two school-age kids, and I have no idea whether they'll be going back in person or whether they're going back online. And I think that's a sentiment that is shared by a lot of parents. And as Robin points out, this is an ever-changing situation. We don't know what the classrooms are going to look like a few weeks from now when schools start reopening. And I don't think it's right to have a mandate from the top to say either they have to all go back or all be online. Let's let the locals make the decisions that are the right thing for their community. If you're in a hot spot, probably not a great idea to go back in person. But if you're able to kind of handle things and get kids back in the classroom in a responsible way, I think that's appropriate too.
And what we've seen really throughout the week has been parents kind of on the fence, what you're talking about here, Jennifer, where some are saying local rule matters, others still wondering where this debate falls. And Hoosier lawmakers, they're talking about it, but so is the White House. The Trump administration is making it pretty clear here, like Governor Holcomb, they want kids back in the classroom. But let's talk about this recent poll here. It's from Politico Morning Consult, finding that 50% of voters don't want youth back on college campuses, university campuses. 53% don't want kids back in classrooms. 65% don't support funding cuts if schools don't reopen this fall. So I want to hear now from the 2016 vice chair to the Indiana Trump campaign, Tony Samuel. We know parents have doubts. So, Tony, why should Hoosiers trust the White House plan?
Well, most of the parents that I talk to, and we're parents, my wife and I are, of a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old, and we want them back in school, and I think most parents do, and they realize that, and from what we're hearing and what the science is telling us, is that younger kids are less vulnerable, less at a point of getting the virus, and less likely to spread it. Older kids, when you get to the high school kids, they're more likely. So that's where you might have more mask wearing or more of an emphasis on distance learning. You've also got to tell your kids to be smart themselves. No making out for teenagers. So they might have to wait for this until their 20s. But everybody has to has to pitch in and be smart here, but the number one priority should be getting kids back in school, because that's where they're going to learn better. They're going to get better at Fortnite and more TikTok videos if they're staying home, but better at learning and healthier and doing better at their social skills, which is important at these ages. So we've got to all focus on getting them back in school. As far as the president, he's right on target. The emphasis and the importance needs to be on getting kids in school, so that, not only for their education and the things I mentioned earlier, but that our economy continues to move forward, so that kids, their parents can work and not have to take time off when they've already lost a lot of jobs, and we know what the employment situation is. We've got to also weigh the benefits of getting the economy back at work.
I know I'd love to hear the thoughts of all our other panelists on TikTok, as well as kids growing up too fast. But let me switch gears a little bit here and talk about another top headline, because we are talking about politics and we're 3 months away from Election Day. So 2 big political shakeups coming down. President Trump bringing in a new campaign manager. That's as polls are slipping away from him. Wednesday's Quinnipiac poll has Joe Biden leading with 52% of the vote, Donald Trump with 37%. Last month, the numbers were Biden 49, Trump 41. So Mike, why are polls showing more Americans pivoting to the former VP?
Well, I think it's been a very tough year, no matter who is president in 2020. The virus, and obviously number one, and because of that, the stock market crashed for a while. It's back up to where it was at the end of 2019. But very tough time for anybody trying to be a leader. Now, I don't think polls mean anything right now, frankly. I think it's just something for us to talk about. But I will tell you the fact that Trump has replaced his campaign manager, and according to Washington reports, is wiring around his own son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and establishing his own networks, says that the president is very worried about where he stands right now. This is not unlike Nixon. People that have this kind of narcissistic personality, they begin to become very self-focused, very frankly paranoid, and they try to grasp and regain control of anything they can. I think that's what the president's going through right now. He sees danger. He thinks he's the only one that can solve it, and he's pushing other people aside to do that.
Let me get the Democratic response on this one, too. Certainly, we've heard some of that panic here about what this means to have Bill Stepien step in and change things for the Trump campaign. But for Jennifer and Robin, some analysts are seeing this number similar to what we just heard there from Mike, that it's not really something we should focus on. We still have 16 weeks here until Election Day. So if you're the Biden campaign right now, between everything going on, Jennifer, Robin, what do you expect him to do next?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Robin. I think, look, anyone who works in politics will tell you the only poll that really matters is the one that gets taken on Election Day. However, cliche as that may sound, there's another truth out there, which is that you want your polling numbers to be going in the positive direction. You want especially your trust and your reelect numbers to be going in a positive direction. And especially in those states that are really going to matter in this presidential race, Donald Trump's numbers are going in the wrong direction. As for what Joe Biden needs to do, probably just sit still, stay calm, look presidential, and let Donald Trump implode.
All right. Well, Robin, I'd love to hear from you and the rest of the panel, but we are running out of time. Always a vibrant discussion. Thank you so much to our panel this Sunday. Still much more ahead on this week's edition of In Focus. Reports of a state house confrontation between a black state senator and Capitol Police. The actions that prompted Indiana State Police to open up an investigation. That's next.